If your mind is always noisy, it's not because life is hard, it's because you're fighting it. Have you noticed? It's not when everything falls apart, but when you overthink, that's when your mind just truly exhausted. You might be doing everything right. You have a job, goals, responsibilities. But inside, it's chaos. An old conversation keeps replaying in your head. An undecided choice keeps you awake at night. A vague fear you can't quite put into words. And you ask yourself, why do I feel so unsettled even when nothing is that bad? This video isn't here to comfort you. And it's not here to tell you to be more positive. Today, we're doing something much harder. We're looking straight at how you think. We'll walk through 20 Stoic quotes, not to admire them, but to break them apart, line by line, group by core mental patterns, so you can clearly see which one reflects the problem you're facing and why it might be the thing that finally quits your mind. Each group of quotes ends with very concrete exercises, not theory, not life-based, just things you can try in everyday life. If you've ever felt trapped inside your own thoughts, then don't skip ahead. Because maybe just one sentence in this video is something you've needed to hear for a very long time. Here is a hard truth. Most of your mental pains don't come from what happened, but from not accepting that it happened. Stoicism calls this the biggest blind spot of life. We don't suffer because of reality. We suffer because of the silent argument we keep having with it in our heads. And this first group of quotes is about one single skill: stop fighting what already is. Inner chaos ends the moment you stop arguing with reality. It sounds simple. But if you misunderstand it, you'll think Stoicism is telling you to give up. It's not. Stoicism isn't about surrender. It's about not arguing with what can be changed. Pay attention to your inner dialogue. This shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have treated me like that. I don't deserve to be in this situation. While you're arguing, reality doesn't move an inch. Only you get exhausted. If you're tired and don't know why, it might be because you're arguing with something that will never answer you back. Nothing disturbs the soul more than resisting what already is. Most people don't realize they're living inside the sentence. You don't say, I'm resisting reality. You say, I just haven't accepted it yet. Psychologically, it's the same thing. Resistance isn't some dramatic act. It's small daily repetition, replaying the past, blaming yourself, comparing your life to a version of the past that no longer exists. And every time you do that, your soul loses a little more energy. Stoicism doesn't ask, do you like this? It asks, are you ready to stop fighting it? Accept the present fully, or it will continue to disturb you endlessly. Here's a dangerous misconception. People think time heals everything. It don't. Time doesn't heal. Acceptance does. You can carry one anxiety for 10 years, not because it's strong, but because you never allowed it to fully exist in your awareness. When you reject the present, it follows you. In your thoughts. In your emotions. In your automatic reactions. What you refuse to accept today will knock on your mind again tomorrow. The soul settles when it accepts limits instead of fighting them. We live in a world that worships limitless potential. Stoicism says the opposite. Limits are where the mind just to rest. You can't do everything. You can fix every mistake. You can control how others see you. And the moment you stop pretending you can, your soul settles. Not because you're weak, but because you're no longer lying to yourself. For the next 10 days, whenever you feel mental tension, so exactly this: step 1, write down one sentence looping in your head. It's simple, this shouldn't have happened. Step 2, underline the part where you're resisting reality. Step 3, rewrite it in a Stoic frame: this happened. My task is how I respond. That's it. No extra analysis. No judgment. This exercise doesn't make life easier, but it ends the war inside you. And if you're thinking, okay, I accept it, but everything still feels messy, then the next part might shock you, because there are things you should never accept, only control with precision. Once you begin accepting reality, a natural question appears. If I accept everything as it is, what do I actually control? This is where many people misunderstand Stoicism. They think it means letting go of everything, not caring, checking out. No. Stoicism is the art of controlling the right things and releasing the rest. These quotes draw the life or death line. Peace begins when you accept what is beyond your control and master what is within it. This isn't just a quote. It's the mental map of Stoicism itself. Look at your own life. What do you worry about most? What others think of you? Final outcomes, things that haven't happened yet, situations you can't force, and meanwhile, you neglect the one thing you truly control, your response. Stoics don't ask, is this fair? They ask, how do I respond without destroying myself? Peace doesn't come from controlling more. It comes from controlling the right thing. You regain control of your life the moment you stop trying to control life itself. Sounds contradictory, right? But be honest, every time you try to control life, so you feel calmer, or so you feel more tense, more irritated, more disappointed. Life isn't a steering wheel. You can turn it wherever you want. But you can control whether you panic or stay steady, whether you wreak it on impulse or with reason, whether you collapse or stand upright. The day you stop trying to control life is the day you start mastering yourself. Master your response, and the world loses its power to unsettle you. If you truly live this sentence, your life will change. The world only has power over you when it can trigger unconcise reactions, an insult, an unpleasant email, something going wrong. In that moment, you have two options: react instantly or pose. Stoics believe that pose is freedom. You don't need to control other people. Just control the moment before you react. Whoever masters their response is no longer a hostage to circumstances. For the next 5 days, practice the 2 circles exercise whenever something stresses you out. 1. Draw, imagine 2 circles. Inner circle, what I control. Outer circle, what I don't. 2. Identify one single action in the inner circle. Examples: stay calm, respond more slowly, don't react immediately. 2. Commit to acting only within that inner circle. This exercise won't solve every problem, but it ends the feeling of helplessness, the deepest source of inner chaos. And yet, even if you've accepted reality, controlled the right things, your mind can still be loud. Because there's one enemy left: how you judge everything. If you've made it this far, you might be realizing something. It's not circumstances that disturb you. It's not other people stealing your peace. It's how you interpret everything in your head that quietly wears you down every day. Stoic called this judgment. And these quotes go straight to the root. Calm is not found by changing the world, but by disciplining your judgments about it. We are taught that if circumstances improve, if life becomes smoother, we'll finally feel calm. But look at your own life. How many times did you get what you wanted and still feel uneasy? The problem was never the world. It was the filter in your mind. 2 people, same situation. One is calm, the other panics. The difference isn't the event. It's the judgment. You don't need a different life. You need a different lens. The mind creates chaos when it insists on controlling outcomes instead of intentions. The mind is supple. It doesn't say, I want to control everything. It says, I just want to be sure. That's the trap. When you focus on outcomes, you give power to things outside your control. When you focus on intention, you return to your own territory. Stoics didn't ask, will I succeed? They asked, did I act according to my values? Chaos appears when you judge yourself by things you can guarantee. Your thoughts are the true battlefield, wind tear, and the noise fades. You don't live in the world. You live in the version of the world your mind creates. Every thought is an interpretation. Every interpretation is a story. And most of those stories are never verified. Stoicism doesn't tell you to think positive. It tells you to think with discipline. Observe your thoughts. Question them. Where's the evidence? Is this within my control? You don't need to conquer the world. Just win one conversation inside your own mind. For the next 10 days, whenever your mind starts spiraling, ask these 3 Stoic questions. 1. Is this a fact or my interpretation? 2. Does this thought help me act better? 3. Am I judging outcomes instead of intentions? Answer honestly. You don't need to fix the thought right away. The goal isn't to eliminate thoughts. It's to stop letting them drive your life. And if you pay attention, most of the judgments that make you suffer circle around something very familiar: wanting more, fearing loss, and refusing to let go. Here's something very few people dare to say out loud. It's not life that exhausts you. It's what you're clinging to. You want recognition. You want certainty. You want to not be left behind. You want things to unfold exactly the way you imagine. And every single one adds another chain around your mind. Stoicism doesn't say, don't want anything. It asks, is what you want controlling you? When you desire less, chaos loses its grip on you. This is one of the hardest ideas in Stoic philosophy to actually live, because we're taught that wanting more is motivation. But the Stoics live deeper. Not every desire moves you forward. Many desires just make sure you never feel at peace. The more you crave certainty, the more you fear loss. The more you want control, the more easily you panic. Peace doesn't come from having enough. It comes from needing less. Discipline your desires, and the mind no longer needs to scream. Notice what happens when you don't get what you want. Your mind screams. It judges. It imagines worst-case scenarios. That's not because you're weak. It's because your desires haven't been trained. Stoicism teaches this. Desire isn't eliminated, it's put back in its proper place. You can still have goals. You just don't let those goals decide your self-worth. When desire no longer rules you, the mind doesn't need to shout anymore. Chaos survives on your attachment. Release it and chaos starves. This line cuts deep because it points to a painful truth. Chaos doesn't exist on its own. You're feeding it. By clinging to an outcome, an image of who you think you should be, an expectation no one ever promised you. Every time you say, once this works out, I'll be at peace, you hand your peace to someone else. The tighter you hold on, the harder it tightens around you. What you fear losing is often what keeps your mind in chains. Be honest with yourself for a moment. What are you afraid of losing? Your reputation, a relationship, your position, how others see you. Stoics believe this. The place you fear loss the most is the place you're not free yet. Not because you shouldn't care, but because you've tied your identity to it. Freedom begins when you face the possibility of losing and realize you still be okay. For the next 5 days, the release one thing exercise every evening. 1. Write down one thing you're overly attached to. 2. Ask, if I didn't have this, who would I be? 3. Write one small action that proves it's in control your mood. For example, don't check, don't react immediately, don't seek validation. This exercise doesn't take anything away from you. It signs your mind is freedom back. But even if you've reduced desire, loosened attachment, your mind might still not be quiet. Because there's one final question left: who's in control, reason or emotion? Let me ask you something. Answer honestly. In your head, when you're stressed, who's making the decisions? reason, or emotion. Stoics didn't deny emotions. They just never gave them the steering wheel. And these quotes are about inner order, something no external situation can ever give you. Inner order arises when you align your values, not your circumstances. We often think, when things get better, I'll feel better. That's the trap. Circumstances always change. If your peace depends on them, you'll never be steady. Stoics chose a different path, build order from the inside. When you know what you value, what you refuse to compromise, who you're trying to become, then circumstances are just the backdrop. A person with clear values doesn't need the world to be stable to stand firm. Clarity is born when emotion obeys reason, not the other way around. Stoicism doesn't teach you to become emotionless. It teaches you proper roles. Emotion is like a warning light. It tells you something is happening. But if you let it drive the car, a crash is only a matter of time. Reason doesn't emotion. It questions it. Is this true? Is this reason helpful? Is there a better response? Clarity doesn't come from having no emotion. It comes from not being dragged by it. Silence within is louder than any order imposed from outside. The modern world is obsessed with external discipline, schedules, systems, rules, pressure. But you can have all of that and still be chaotic inside. Stoics believe this. When you're quiet on the inside, the outside can shake you. This silence isn't avoidance. It's the absence of unconscious reason. When your inner world is ordered, you don't need the world to be quiet. For the next set says, whenever emotions surge, so the driver's seat exercise 1. Ask yourself, who's in the driver's seat right now? Emotion or reason 2. If it's emotion, pause for 1 second. Don't react. Don't decide. D. Then ask, what would my best version do right now? This exercise doesn't kill emotion. It simply puts reason back in charge. And now we're almost at the end of the road. But there's one final barrier that keeps many people trapped in chaos: the need to be certain, to be right, to be guaranteed. If you look closely, everything we've talked about so far leads back to one shared fear. Modern humans can't tolerate uncertainty. We want answers. We want guarantees. We want proof we're on the right path. And that need is what keeps you stuck the longest. Let go of the need for certainty, and clarity will follow. It sounds backward. But think carefully, how many decisions in your life have been delayed because you wanted just a little more certainty? How many worries exist not because there's real danger, but because you can't stand not knowing? Stoics understood this deeply. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes after you accept uncertainty. You don't need to see the whole path. You just need the courage to step without full visibility. You suffer not because things are difficult, but because you demand they be different. This quote is a mirror. And not everyone wants to look. Life is hard. Stoics never denied that. Suffering appears when you add one extra demand. This isn't allowed to be this hard. The moment you demand life be different, inner conflict begins. Difficulty exhausts you. Your silent resistance to it does. Inner chaos fades when you stop seeking permission to be at peace. This is one of the most psychologically powerful lines. So many people are waiting for things to improve, waiting for others to change, waiting to succeed, waiting to be recognized before they allow themselves to feel at peace. Stoicism is blunt. Peace isn't a reward. It's an inner decision. No one needs to give you permission to be calm in your own mind. For the next 1 days, practice the no certainty exercise 1. Whenever you want to ask, will this turn out okay? Replace it with, no matter what happens, how will I respond? 2. Exe, intentionally zo one small thing where the outcome is uncertain but aligned with your values. They. Before sleep, ask, did I act correctly today, even with certainty? This exercise won't make you calm overnight, but it will make you mature. If you've listened this far, one thing should be clear: Stoicism doesn't make life lighter. It makes you stronger. Not by avoiding chaos, but by refusing to let it live in your head. Don't argue with reality. Control the right things is blind judgment. Reduce desire. Put reason in the driver's seat. Let go of certainty. If one quote in this video made you go wet for a few seconds, then maybe test the one you meant to live with the limits. We don't need more information. We need less chaos. Before you leave this video, pause for a moment. Not to remember every quote. Not to take notes. Not to become more stoic. Just to ask one question: out of the 20 quotes today, which one made you go silent a little longer than usual? Not the one you liked, the one that made you slightly uncomfortable. Because that's often where your mind is stuck. Stoicism doesn't measure value by how much you understand. It measures it by this: are you willing to slow down one beat and observe yourself? If you listen while tired, while overwhelmed, while overthinking, remember one very Stoic truth: you don't need to fix your whole life. You only need to change how you respond to this moment. And if today you do nothing else, just do one small thing. Don't react immediately. Don't argue with reality. Don't advance a tense no. If this video helps you breathe a little slower or made your mind a little quieter, stay with this channel. Not because I'll give you answers, but because we'll keep asking the right questions. Subscribe if you want videos that don't tell you to be positive, don't teach you to escape emotion, but teach you how to stand firm when life doesn't go your way. Like, not for me, but to remind yourself, peace is a skill you can train. And comment one quote from the video that made you think the most. No explanation needed. Just write it. We don't need an easier life. We need less chaos in our heads. See you in the next video.